Did the Bible predict what people would be like in our days? Dear brothers and friends, today we gather to reflect on an important question. Did the Bible predict what people would be like in our days? The Scriptures contain prophecies and descriptions that seem very relevant to understanding the behavior and attitudes of humanity in current times. As we explore this topic, we will consider the teachings of the Scriptures and the involvement of Jehovah and Jesus, seeking a clear and edifying understanding. In the New Testament, the Apostle Paul provides a detailed description of the characteristics and behaviors that would be common in the last days. In 2 Timothy 3:1-5, Paul writes, "But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people." This list of negative behaviors reflects a moral and spiritual decline that is unfortunately evident in many aspects of our current society. The first trait Paul mentions is that people will be lovers of themselves. In our days, we see a culture that often values individualism and selfishness over community and cooperation. The pursuit of personal well-being and satisfaction often eclipses care and concern for others, contrary to Jesus' command to love your neighbor as yourself, Matthew 22:39. Greed is another highlighted trait. Materialism and the pursuit of wealth have become predominant values in many societies. In Matthew 6:24, Jesus warns, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." Greed leads to a life centered on the accumulation of material goods rather than seeking spiritual riches and Jehovah's kingdom. Pride and arrogance are also mentioned. Boastfulness and disdain for others are attitudes that distance people from Jehovah. In Proverbs 16:18 we are warned, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." Humility is an essential virtue for living in harmony with Jehovah and others, and arrogance is a barrier to true faith and fellowship. Disobedience to parents and ingratitude are behaviors that reflect a breakdown in family relationships and the social structure Jehovah has established. In Ephesians 6:2-3, Paul exhorts, "Honor your father and mother," which is the first commandment with a promise, "so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth." Respect and gratitude are fundamental for a blessed life and a healthy society. Paul also mentions a lack of natural affection and unforgiveness. These attitudes reflect a lack of compassion and mercy, which is contrary to Jehovah's nature. In Colossians 3:12, we are exhorted, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." Compassion and forgiveness are essential for reflecting Jehovah's love in our lives. Slander and lack of self-control are destructive behaviors that damage relationships and personal integrity. In James 1:19, we are advised, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." Moderation in our words and actions is crucial for living in peace and harmony. Contempt for what is good and treachery show a complete inversion of divine values. In Isaiah 5:20 we are warned, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." The distortion of moral values leads to confusion and chaos in society. Finally, Paul mentions that people will be lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, and will have a form of godliness but denying its power. The pursuit of pleasure and temporary satisfaction often leads to idolatry of worldly pleasures instead of seeking a deep and meaningful relationship with Jehovah. In 1 John 2:15-17, we are warned, "Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world. The world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever." Jehovah and Jesus' involvement in predicting these behaviors is evident. Jehovah, in his infinite wisdom and knowledge, revealed through his prophets and apostles how humanity would be in the last days. Jesus, as the Son of God, also warned about the corruption and moral decay that would characterize the end times. In Matthew 24:12, Jesus says, "Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold." This warning underscores the importance of remaining firm in our faith and love for Jehovah, even in times of great wickedness. The congregation plays a vital role in helping us resist the negative influences of our time. By gathering to study the Bible, pray, and worship together, we strengthen our faith and our ability to live according to divine principles. In Hebrews 10:24-25, we are exhorted, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." The congregation is a place where we can learn and grow together, seeking Jehovah's guidance in all our decisions. Applying these teachings in our daily lives means living with a constant awareness of the spiritual reality and the need to stand firm in our faith. Practicing daily devotion and meditating on the Scriptures allows us to deepen our relationship with Jehovah and Jesus and live according to their teachings. We must strive not to be swayed by the predicted negative behaviors and instead reflect Jehovah's love and justice in all our actions. In conclusion, the Bible accurately predicted the behaviors and attitudes of people in our days, highlighting a moral and spiritual decline manifesting in various forms. Through these teachings, we are called to maintain our faith in Jehovah and Jesus, resist corrupt influences, and live according to divine principles. May this reflection inspire us to live with active faith and deep love for Jehovah and Jesus, trusting in their guidance and protection, and anticipating with hope the promise of their eternal kingdom. Amen.